Nice. What kind of tree do we have here?
This is a purple robe locust. My name is Brent Pearson. I'm an arborist for the city of El Paso, and I'm going to help Shelby plant this tree here. First thing we did was pick a site. We made sure we had plenty of room for the tree to expand, looked up top, make sure there was no power lines. We also looked at the other trees and anticipated their growth. The purple robe locust we picked because it is somewhat of a narrow area, but the branching structure of this tree is V-shaped, so it'll fit this area perfectly. A benefit, it will give somewhat of a dapple shade. It has locust-like leaves. It's not in that family, but it does have purple flowers in the springtime. Very aromatic, so that's a big plus to this tree. So we selected the site. I placed the container where we plan on planting it ultimately. This is a 5-gallon container. I placed it where I want it, and now when we dig out the hole, the general rule of thumb is to dig it twice as wide as the container and just as deep. So when this is planted, we will have a hole from here to about here, but just as deep as from the bottom of this container to the grade of this soil right here. This tree is a grafted tree. You never want to cover up that graft. That bark will rot and the tree will die. It's just a slow death. So I have the tree where I want it. Now I'm going to mark where I dig the hole. I'll just dig out a pattern roughly twice the size of the container. Then I'll move the container out of the way. Now you're ready to start digging. The first thing when you're digging, make sure your shovel is sharp. It makes all the difference in the world as far as how the dig is going to go. This, at one time, was a regular shovel, and you can see how much I sharpened this thing.
Wow.
Now it's about ready to be a hoe. I'll bend it over back this way and utilize it as a hoe.
Oh, wow.
So this is I wear this like a Medal of Honor.
You should.
It doesn't have much capacity, so I'm going to switch to another shovel to dig out the dirt. To pitch, it gives me a good leverage on the dirt. This is also a sharp shovel. I start digging out where I marked, and then I'm going to take out my dirt. The dirt, put it in the most convenient place you can find. Don't put it over here. Don't put it over here. Put it as close to the hole as practical. It's a lot easier to put your soil back in.
And you recommend reusing the soil. Don't just come in here and
you don't,
dump in new soil.
The tree, if you take out the native soil and put in a soil from someplace else, it'll do good initially that first year. When it hurts the native soil, it'll go through a secondary shock. So it's got to get used to what it's growing in from the get-go. Then that way there's no secondary shock to it.
It's good to know.
We're in the lower river valley in El Paso, so we have a lot of clay, sandy clay, which is good. You can grow anything in this soil with the right water management. Once we plant this tree, watering during this time of year, which is the end of November, will be about once a week. Because the tree really doesn't have much leaf to speak of to hold on to. It's going into dormancy and its water needs are far less than it would be if it had a full canopy on it.
So you think fall and early winter is a good time to plant?
Fall is the best time to plant.
In El Paso? That's good to know.
Because even in our winters, they will develop roots. And the more roots they have before the heat of the coming summer, the less stress they're going to go through.
That's good to know.
The hole's taking shape. Steady. Patient. You can see its soil is dry up to about 10 inches in. So far it's still pretty dry. It's never good to plant a tree too deep. That's the most common mistake most homeowners do. It just means a slow death for the tree. Okay, we're about at the level, but before we stop digging, we're going to take measurements to make sure okay, here we got a pretty good size hole. I want to make sure that hole is that is just the right depth. So I'll get a shovel. It kind of shows me the grade at which I want to plant. Use my other shovel handle to go to the bottom of the hole. I mark it with there, put it against this, and I have gone more than enough. The depth. I don't know if you can see. I'm measuring it to the top of this, not to the top of the thing.
It's where the dirt line is.
I think I had right there. So yeah, where your level is right there. And digging out. So I just kind of knock down the sides and make the sides rough. You want the sides rough because if you just polish, especially in this clay, if you just polish the clay, the roots will hit it and turn around. The rougher it is, the easier those roots will get established. Measure it one more time.
That's real good advice.
Right there. Okay, we're there.
Perfect.
I put my tree as close to the hole as possible. I knead it, kind of loosen up that soil so it comes out of the container easily. A lot of time if the roots come out of these bottom holes, it's impossible to slide the tree out. You got to destroy the container.
Yeah.
Two things: when you buy containers with a bunch of roots out, it means they've overgrown that container. They need to be planted. So after I've kneaded it, I'm pulling it out. I get in the right position. Slowly do the root ball. Hold it. It's at the right grade. I don't know if you see, but it's right there. That's exactly where I want it. I stand up, kind of see, make the tree, make sure the tree is standing straight. That's good. Does that look straight, everybody? Right there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're ready to put some soil back in. It's on a perfect. That's just. You don't want to get a stiff stream of water, but a little dribble out. Start replacing your soil. You don't want to get too muddy in there, or else it'll be unsecure. So get a little bit of water, put it in, then kind of pack the soil in there as you fill it up. Water. I think we got just the right amount of moisture in there for now. I'm going to pack this and refill it, get it level. Notice with keeping my dirt so close, it's not that hard to scoop it back in. Okay, I put the dirt back when I've kind of excessed it above the root ball. We're going to use that excess to make a well or a basin or a fosa in Spanish. So the tree has some capacity to capture water.
And to keep it off the graft.
Ouch.
It's a dangerous job around the rose bushes.
We're at the right level there with our grade. We've just built up this basin here. As the tree grows, you can extend the basin, and as the tree establishes itself, you can completely eliminate the basin. In the area we're at right here, where the river flows a couple hundred yards away, you have a high water table. So once it taps into that water table, you're home free. Now, we'll get the rest of the water and we'll fill up that basin slowly. The slower you water it, the deeper that water goes. And so if I was to run that full force right now and fill it up in 3 seconds, there really wouldn't be that much water in there.
Good point. Be water smart.
So there you go. Right now, during this time of year, once a week. Heat of the summer, up to three times a week during the 100-degree weather during the first 2 years. As it generally cools off, you go to 2 times a week, then once a week, which we're in right now. During the dead of winter, you can go almost 3 weeks, but you just don't want to let the soil dry out during the winter. When leaves start coming on, twice a week. Heat of the summer, back to 3 times a week. Now, after this tree is established, its water needs will not be less, but it'll have deeper roots and it'll be able to work for itself more than depending on us. First 2 years, it depends on us to establish it. So we've done our job. A few years, we'll have a nice big tree. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hola.
sir. Nice.
Did I rip my pants?
No, you're good.
Did I rip it? These are slow release Agriform tablets. They're a slow release fertilizer. Typically, I like to put 1 or 2 in a 5-gallon tree, and if a 15-gallon container, I put 3 of them. So put them in the soil, punch them down in there, and they will slowly deteriorate and water the,
Feed.
and then feed the tree slowly after that.
Awesome.
Nombre del Padre, Hijo, Espíritu Santo. There you go. That soil was dry. I mean, I was down 12 inches. It's still crumbling. But this will remedy that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,